Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Castaway Anime. I'm Neon Manta,
And I'm Crunchy Bagels.
and we're done talking about psychic girls, we're done talking about shogi girls, and we're done talking about band girls. No more girls, I say. Girls, I want to see men! And we saw men, we saw man, we saw Chainsaw Man.
That is the best intro you've ever done. Holy hell.
I appreciate it, but before we go on, please leave us a like, subscribe to the channel, and head on down to the comments. Tell us what you thought about Chainsaw Man and what you would like to see us cover on the podcast in the future. This is the last podcast of the year 2022, and we're going out on a bang, goddammit.
I'd say it truly is a bang because, god damn it, this is a good show. It's really good, really pleasant to watch.
It's a good show.
Controversially, considering who else is in the podcast with me, I mean, at least so far, it's better than Bocchi.
I mean, yeah, but no. I'm granted at this time I've not yet finished Bocchi, but
Me neither,
I'm
to
still,
be fair.
Like, my opinions of both shows are equal as of right now, but I have a strong feeling once I finish Bocchi, I'm gonna be like, nah, Bocchi's the Kino, Bocchi the GOAT.
However, I do know which take will make you flip tables, just do all sorts of unspeakable things, like blow up an orphanage, bomb various government buildings. I know what take will make you do that. I'm sure you already know what it is. But
darling.
Oh, it wasn't gonna be that, but yes, it is. But also, Urusei Yatsura still anime of the season, not gonna lie.
You're just wrong. I haven't seen your video yet, but you're just wrong.
I'm just so right that your brain can't comprehend how right I am.
Speaking of your video, it looks like you've grown a little since the last time we did a podcast. What was it? What'd you add? Like 1 to 500 subscribers?
So I have recently hit, as of right now, 12 subscribers.
12. What's 725 divided by 12?
Oh, I'm getting. I'm actually typing it in. 60. Okay, that's yeah,
12 times 60 subscribers. Yeah, you had 200 when we first started this podcast, back last year, and now here you are.
Well, hold on. To put it into perspective, I had 200 a month ago.
And now you jumped up 525.
Yeah, the YouTube algorithm blessed me. It brings many a blessings and curses, and today it hath brought us its blessing.
The algorithm giveth, the algorithm taketh away, and on this day it has giveth.
I'm very excited, very excited. It still hasn't plateaued.
It has also giveth to you and me, because give ourselves a big pat on the back. We hit 100 subs.
Whoa!
I don't think we've addressed it in the podcast officially yet, but we have, and we ain't stopping. The train ain't stopping here, boys. We're 1,000 by October of next year, because we kind of have to, because that's when the Call of the Nightcast came out, that popped off way harder than any of us thought it would. So we have till then to make sure we keep those watch time hours.
We need to get monetized, damn it. My current
turn this
goal
into a job.
is... Yeah, unironically, hopefully on my end, I want to get 1K by April next year, which was an intentional lowball goal, and it's looking like I'll hit it. Probably in January.
If you keep applying yourself, you'll probably hit it like at very latest February, as long as you keep putting out a video like once every 2 weeks or 2 to 3 weeks.
I have currently 3 videos planned for January, and one of them is already I wrote the script for. It's the problem with reviewing anime I told you about. I want to release that like mid-January. So
That's a
hopefully.
good wide casting net right there.
I'll put Chainsaw Man in the thumbnail like you told me, and I could also put Bocchi in the thumbnail. I could just put all the popular shows in the thumbnail and hope it
And make sure
brings
you
in
throw in
everyone.
one winter 2023 anime in there.
Oh, well, you
Slip
know
in
it's gonna
one
be Onimai.
Onimai. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say.
Oh, I would be happy to put in Onimai. You know, that's like a gift to myself more than a gift to the people clicking on the video.
Speaking of gifts, let's gift the viewer what they came here for and finish talking about the second half of the Chainsaw Man anime. It's good. It's real good.
アキ君は死なないでね。私が死んだ時さ、泣いてほしいから。ヘビー、丸飲み。
Yeah, so I'm very infamous in saying that I don't really like action scenes. And the second half of this show is mostly action scenes. And it didn't affect my enjoyment at all. And that is a testament to just how good Chainsaw Man is. Where even if it is like pretty much all action, granted there are some like I forget exactly what episode it is, but there's like one episode where it calms down in order to train Denji and Power. There's like a lot more dialogue, but generally speaking, there is a lot of action. And not gonna lie, during the action scenes, I was enthralled. I kept on watching. I was just entertained the whole way through. And to a surprising degree, actually, because even though, you know, I like this show, and I knew it was going to be great, I'm actually really hooked in on the plot of all things.
It's a good story. It's how they got you into the action because they got you attached to the characters and now you care what happens to them. Especially if, say, I don't know, a good handful of them just die, just flat out, just straight up die.
That scene was so. I want to talk about that first thing. So, yeah, Himeno's gone. That's unfortunate. And in retrospect, her
Gone
saying
too
that,
soon, damn it!
in retrospect, her saying, "Oh yeah, let's try and get our lovers together, Denji. I'm gonna get Aki, date Aki."
That
is
was a
like
big red flag.
that should have clued me in. Should have been like death flag. But hey, the walking death flag did finally die. So I was right on that just a few episodes too early.
Hey, put some credit on Arai's name. He went out like a bro, saving Kobani, the hero we deserve.
True, he did die a respectable death. It was inevitable, but at least the walking death flag went out with a bang.
Yeah, literally.
yeah, quite literally. And the specific scene I have in my head is right after. So the way it's portrayed at the very end of episode 8 is, or rather, actually more towards the middle half. But okay, so Makima's on a train, right? She's going to this meeting, and then she gets just shot. The dude next to her gets shot, then she does, and it just cuts to the image of her bloodied corpse looking just dead-eyed, completely still. And obviously she isn't dead, and I knew that during the scene because I mean, come on, it's Makima. They've set up way
no
too
way
much.
they kill a main character that soon.
Yeah, but I was definitely very intrigued as to how she wasn't dead because it looks like a clean shot.
We're one season in, and they've been held their cards close to the chest on what Makima's powers are. All we could piece together thus far is that she is somehow able to either create new bodies or maybe she's like, I don't know, maybe it's a kind of hive mind because we very much clearly see her the body we see her head straight up domed. Like we could see the bullet wound, the exit wound. We see her corpse, but then between shots, when the other gunmen are on the train, she is standing up and she takes them all down, and then she tells the other public safety devil hunters that were meeting her, "Oh, these clothes are mine. This isn't my body." So that like, does she have is she a hive mind? Who knows?
Well, anyway, after that scene, a bit jarring, and we get this just amazing scene of the characters. It cuts to like Power and Arai or sorry, not Power and Arai, Kobani and Arai, and then Denji and Ko eating lunch together, just all around with like this super melancholy song to it. Like that is just seared into my head. Just even though I knew Makima wasn't dead, and I don't think you were supposed to think she was dead, that song with that, montage of them just having fun, it was doing stuff to me. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, you're not supposed to be like thinking, "Oh man, Makima's dead," but definitely the shock of it hit me real hard when they're just casually, they're chillaxing on a train. She's going to meet her contacts in Kyoto or whatever, and then just a gun appears behind them, fucking plow plow, just takes her out very bloodily. Like they're fucking red everywhere. We get a close up of her corpse, and we're like, oh, it's almost like a jump scare the way it came out of nowhere.
That definitely got me, but what got me even more was when the show was just willing to have a bunch of gunmen collectively shoot every single character we know and love currently. And they do kill Denji. Granted, he apparently can reincarnate, and in fact dies dozens of times in this block of episodes, but they get Denji, they get Himeno eventually, they get Arai, and then
they got all of the guys from the bar. They got the cute girl from the bar, the cute older one with like the pinkish hair.
Yeah, so they're getting everyone. Everyone's getting gadded right now, and a very baller scene. I was definitely awake and
it goes hard. Like you cannot not pay attention to that scene. That one like commands your attention.
And it was a very smooth and I guess we're sort of skipping ahead here, or rather, we already skipped ahead. But I guess we should resolve the open-ended question of last time. Denji did not do it with Himeno. I
Himeno
repeat.
confirmed not a pedophile. she has beaten the allegations.
She has escaped the clutches of Twitter.
I mean, she did kiss him, so what?
True.
Like, hey, you can't get canceled if you're dead, unless you're Michael Jackson, in which case, I guess we are truly never safe.
I mean, hey, she survived the cancellation. Not life, but
she canceled her own life, quite literally.
And so this block of episode just has a lot of really great, really tense scenes. It's like all of the action scenes in this show are like, what I like about them is that they're so brief and to the point, and they're always super high octane and like as much movement and animation as possible. Like if you're gonna have an action centric back end, that is the type of action I would want.
Yeah, there's no like stopping midway through a fight to be like, he's using so much of his power. I gotta think of a new strategy. Like, oh, you cannot beat my power because this is how my power works. You're helpless at the whim of my power. There's none of that in this show. Like no JoJoisms, no My Hero Academia flashbacking to previous scenes that literally just happened isms, no Dragon Ball stopping to stroke the dicks of our power levels. It's all just gory, grindy, gnarly, in your face, to the point action, and it's all well animated, even when it's into CG, like the big final fight between Denji and the Katana Devil, where they're mostly CG the entire time. But what I appreciated about it, it's come a long way since the not so great looking CG in the first episode, because they figured it out. As long as Mappa was like, you know what, as long as it's fast paced and there's a good amount of weight to their movements with some matching appropriate sound design, we can make it look good. And by God, they did.
Yeah, like the action scenes, even though there is, like you said, a lot of CG, it's like it's not like Shield Hero where you watch it and you just can't take any of it seriously. No, you take it
Yeah,
completely
you're not gonna get bombarded with a out of nowhere horribly ugly 3D Iron Maiden coming out of the sky. That's forever traumatized me. No, and they also do the very smart thing of making sure that they keep the 2D characters out of the 3D fight scenes, so that way, like, you're never gonna see a shot where the Katana Man is 2D but Denji's in 3D or vice versa or anything like that. They make sure to keep it consistent within itself.
The only bits of CG that I thought were a little goofy, and this is me getting really nitpicky, but there was one or two shots where there were some CG pedestrians and they didn't have great looking walk cycles, and two, Aki's curse
I do
was
remember those two.
a little goofy. Like,
Yeah,
it doesn't look
Aki's
awful,
curse.
but
Now that you brought it up, I'm remembering it. It does kind of remind me of like when this is this is the most damning insult I could give this show. It kind of reminds me of like when they'd have some kind of horribly ugly, edgy looking thing in like a light novel isekai anime.
yeah, you're not
Yeah,
wrong.
you know what I mean?
You're not wrong.
Even then, it still looks better than that. But that's the kind of vibe that I got from it.
I see exactly where you're coming from with that. And yeah, it's a little goofy, but hey, it, these tiny blemishes don't significantly undercut in any way just the amount of sheer animation prowess on display
it's
here.
a small price to pay for like once again remaining to have one of the most beautiful looking TV anime to have ever graced the television screen.
Literally, I remember before Chainsaw Man came out, my friend Civ was convinced that it would look garbage because he was like, bro, I've seen the art in the manga, I've seen what they need to animate. They just ain't gonna do it. They just can't get away with it. It's gonna look super crusty and be like filled with CG, and they're not gonna make it look good.
But god damn it,
It
Mappa got away
great.
with it.
I'm sure there are plenty of, employee deaths combusting from overwork, literally disintegrating into dust as they draw all the frames. But hey, they got it to look good.
So, hey man, like they made a pact with the animation devil, the scariest of all devils in Japan.
So, transitioning along smoothly, there's apparently this petition on Twitter that started as of the final episode.
I'm very glad that you brought that up because I was actually going to transition the conversation into this very controversy.
I mean, okay, to be fair, I haven't looked into it, and there's a part of me that just hears that headline and is like, come on, that sounds like bait. That sounds like such bait. Starting a petition in 2022 to change the director of a show that looks this good, it feels so baity. I'm not, granted, I haven't looked into it, but it just feels like bait.
I looked into it a little bit, and from what I've gathered, people are upset about it because the director, let me make sure I got his fucking name right. Ryu Nakayama. They're mad about him for, because he's not really that big into anime directing. He's more of a key animator and a animation director. He's never, I don't think he's ever directed a show before. Like he's had his fingers in the anime pie for over a decade, but he's never been in like the chief director's seat. Uh Okay, I'm looking for his mouth to make sure that I'm not making an ass of myself, and like, and someone goes, actually, he directed this music video from 2019, so he has directed before. No, he's the overall director of the show. This is the first time he's ever directed a full anime, and he's gone on record saying that he's like very influenced by, you know, traditional live action movie and like TV show style directing, movie primarily. And on the surface, I can understand why people would be afraid of an anime director saying that, because the last time someone said that publicly, we got fucking X-Arm.
True,
But
true.
but unlike X-Arm, where that guy had literally no experience in anime whatsoever, this guy has been an animator for over a decade. He's worked back as far as fucking Naruto Shippuden, so he's been in the game for a minute. So I had no worries on that front. As far as the directing of Chainsaw Man as a whole goes, what is there to complain about?
So I guess you could be like, well, actually, I do have some experiences with people who were somewhat dissatisfied with the Chainsaw Man directing. I have a friend who has read the manga and thinks that there are some things that could be improved on the directing front. And it comes back to what you were talking about with it being sort of live action inspired, where, you know, it's very grounded and realistic, and the best way I can describe it is that the proverbial camera feels like a physical camera at pretty much every point. Except for maybe the action scenes where it's flinging around wildly. But for the most part, if it's a still shot, it feels like the camera is like physically there in a very odd way that's difficult to describe. And my friend saw that and he's like, yo, not gonna lie, although Shaft doesn't have the budget for this, he's like, yo, some of those Shaftisms and non-diegetic color changes and going completely wacky with the directing, I think it could benefit from that. And I think that this type of story needs that kind of directing. And although I can kind of see it, I'm gonna come out here swinging and swinging hard. I appreciate the fact that Chainsaw Man is directed like this, and in fact prefer that it is directed like this to pretty much any other style I can think of. Not even necessarily because I think that it's the absolute best fit for the story, although I can't think of one that would be like clearly superior in any obvious way, but that I've never seen an anime go this hard into feeling this grounded and realistic and almost like a live action film just in animation, and I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I feel like that's part of a big part of why I love the anime so much, because and this might sound like the biggest backhanded compliment to all of anime. It does, even though it is an anime, it doesn't like feel like I'm watching an anime, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get exactly where you're coming from.
It's
Especially with the animation quality. It basically feels like you're just watching a movie, except
yeah,
it's a TV show.
that's part of why it feels that way, because the animation is so moment to moment high, well above average, especially to watch literally everything every season. So we
Unfortunately.
know what we're talking about when we know like what anime today looks like on average. So when we have to sit down and watch, like, especially this coming next month in the winter 2023 season, where we gotta watch like fucking 10 different isekai slash native isekai fantasy shows that are probably all gonna look like shit. We're gonna like look at those, They're gonna animate stiffly, if at all. The backgrounds are gonna be flat. The compositing's gonna be shit. The camera work is gonna be flat, dull,
The
uninspired.
CG are gonna look
And
like
then I'm gonna
Legos or
yeah.
N64 games.
And then we're gonna think back to Chainsaw Man as like this new high gold standard of like this is what like when you're trying to make anime like the platonic ideal of anime from a moment to moment basis as like beautiful as possible. This is like what you like will think of. This is gonna take that spot in your head of like this is what a good looking anime looks like from beginning to end. And it's like it's no contest. It's gonna this is the kind of animation that makes other anime look worse by comparison.
Absolutely. And the fact that it's so smoothly, like, I can see for a lot of different shows this sort of live action movie inspiration not working. But when you have this smooth of animation, I feel like that's sort of necessary to make it work. Where it does really feel like you're just watching people talk. And, you know,
You know what it is? It's a lot of character animation. Like, when I've noticed it a lot,
yes.
especially when it's like mostly with characters like Denji and Power, and then Aki and Himino. When they're talking to each other, they're not just standing in a like a static pose, like almost like they're like quite literally like a moving manga, and their lips are flapping. They're moving around. They're expressing with their body as well as their mouths, as well. Excuse me, as well as their voices.
And it never feels like too much animation either. It always feels like
Yeah,
just the right amount to make it feel
it
like you're really watching them just
yeah, it
play
never
out
feels
this
distracting,
story. Yeah. It is
and it
very entrancing, and I am, shall we say, a fan of this director. What's his name
I'm a
again?
big fan because like I imagine the alternative, and I imagine like the parallel universe where this is directed like I don't know. Let's just pull a relevant example from the podcast. Like, imagine if this was directed like Bleach. Like, just think of like the 10 episodes that we've seen of Bleach thus far, and imagine like that kind of style, but with the Chainsaw Man characters.
It would just be so much goofier.
Yeah, and it would not lend to the more grounded, more serious tone. Because, like, granted, people get fucked up in Bleach too, but they do not get fucked up in Bleach nearly to the degree people get fucked up in Chainsaw Man.
Thus far, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, the show would be significantly worse for it, and wouldn't you know it, Bleach is significantly worse. Although, for perhaps
Well,
unrelated reasons,
to
but
well, yeah, we're comparing 10 episodes of a what 300 plus episode show to one season of a show that was made 20 years later.
yeah,
But
that is worth keeping in mind. But
the general point stands. Like, even imagine like if this were directed like fucking My Hero Academia, where it's like it's indulging in a bunch of like goofy anime isms. Like they're like a character will be put up like, against a bright, colorful, goofy background, and like maybe drawn in like a deformed chibi style when trying to deliver a joke or a cutesy line or something. Like I can't imagine any of that happening in this show. I would be like, whoa, that seems like a weird tonal clash. If Power suddenly became like weirdly deformed chibi, and then like said something in a like told a goofy, corny joke.
this anime has built a very specific atmosphere with its directing and animation, and I feel like that's worth something. And
It feels like a goddamn breath of fresh air.
I mean, I'm sure the petition is a joke. They literally asked to reanimate the first 12 episodes. It feels like bait,
Like,
but assuming it's true.
reanimate it how? Like, let's assume it's not bait, and like, let's take it at face value and assume they're being serious. Like, do you want Mappa to kill themselves? Do you want the animators to take their own lives?
It's like, I feel like this is an experiment in animation that is worth more existing than not existing. Even if, uh, let's say I was on my friend's side and was like, "Yo, this scene, it's pretty good, but all it needs is just like some non-diegetic color changes and some shaftisms." Even if I was like that, I still think I would be able to concede on the fact that it is more interesting to direct it this way and go all in on this style as an experiment than not doing so.
There is one more key point about this whole controversy that people bring up, and that it's how the way Mappa have adapted the characters and the art style of Chainsaw Man, mainly Tatsuki Fujimoto's art style, to the animation, and how if you compare the manga to the anime, you'll notice that like the anime is comparatively a lot softer, a lot like kind of the best way I can describe it without like trying to sound like an insult, because by no means is this an insult to the staff and the people who made this. Kind of like the edges have been sanded down a little bit. Been a little more cleaned up and uniform in its look. Whereas you look at the manga, it's really sketchy, it's real rough, kind of grungy looking. It's got like a very specific aesthetic that uh you could argue fits the post-apocalyptic or like near like this is still an apocalypse type show.
Yeah, I'd
And
say that's fair.
yeah, and you look at the art and it's like, yeah, this aesthetic matches the tone, the setting of the story.
I do see the merit in that, but I also think that's something that would only really work as well in a manga. Like the sketchiness specifically, I'm talking about. I mean, maybe it could be adapted, but I feel like I just like the way they're doing it. It's so smooth looking and so specifically the character I'm talking about right now, where even if the lines have been sanded down, it fits the more naturalistic tone of the anime, and it's just such consistently attractive art that it's like I'm not sure if I'd be able to go to the manga after that.
And I'm gonna get hung on the cross for this one. But I kind of prefer the look of the anime to the manga, if I'm being honest.
I am looking at the manga right now just to have a point of comparison.
There
Uh,
are moments where the manga does look better. There's one moment people like to point to that I do actually agree with. It's from the first half of the season where Power is blaming Denji for her killing the sea cucumber devil in front of Makima, and Power looks noticeably way more like scared and expressive than she does in the anime in that one scene. And it does look better there than it does in the anime, but taken as a whole, I much prefer the look of the anime, mainly because it is at least from what I've seen. I skimmed through the a couple volumes of the Chainsaw Man manga, the first couple volumes, and compared to the anime, and I know anime has this inherent advantage of, oh, like they have to like depict entire scenes and settings, so they naturally have this as an advantage. But it's a lot easier to tell what I'm looking at and what's going on in the anime as opposed to the manga. There's a good portion of the manga that I read and was like, what am I looking at exactly? Like the paneling and the direction of the manga itself is a little confusing, a little messy, which is not helped by the sketchy art style when everything's so rough and crude and grungy looking. Sometimes it kind of like blends together, and I'm trying to like squint to see what I'm looking at. Whereas I look at the cleaner, more sanded down anime, and I'm like, oh, okay, I understand what is happening here. I understand who is talking to who is saying what is being depicted on the screen right now. And as far as like art styles go, like while I appreciate the grunginess of the Chainsaw Man manga, I'm looking at the character designs of the anime. I'm looking at the character designs in the manga, and I prefer how they look in the anime overall.
I'm looking at them right now.
They don't
Yeah,
look bad
I
in the
think
manga, but like now that I'm like since I've spent so much time looking at the anime and like looking at how nice they got Denji, they got Pat, they got everyone, and they don't like look any less intense when they need them to be. Like when they want to make Power or Denji look deranged, they'll make him look deranged. When they want to make Makima look scary, they'll make Makima look scary.
maybe I need to skim more of the manga to get a better idea, but so far I think I definitely prefer the anime in all those regards.
Yeah, there's a charm to Fujimoto's art style where it's not the cleanest. Like I remember back when people were talking about the Chainsaw Man manga, specifically. I remember hearing this parroted most when Super Eye Patch Wolf talked about it in his one of his yearly roundups of like the state of Shonen Jump, and he usually ends those videos with talking about what is like the current big thing blowing up in the manga at the end of his videos, and in one of them it was Chainsaw Man, and he was talking about the art style not being the cleanest and it being one of the weaker points of the manga at the time, but people were connecting more to the story and the characters more than the art style. Kind of not unlike one from of One Punch Man and Mob Psycho fame.
Although not nearly that bad.
Oh no, Fujimoto is fucking Miura compared to one.
um Honestly, although I can see the sketchy style being charming, of now I'm literally like just scrolling through the first chapter of the manga at this point. Although I definitely see the appeal of it, I'm not sure if I'm necessarily a big enough fan of it to say like it actively helps the source material. I think I'd mostly, if I were reading it in the manga form, I think I'd probably just mostly be indifferent to it. Because like
Yeah,
I see the appeal, I am not wowed by it.
yeah, it's like it. I don't mean this to come off. I don't want to come off as a dick. I look at the artwork of Chainsaw Man, the manga, and it kind of reminds me of a web comic in a way, and not. Again, not to like, come off as like, oh yeah, like look at this amateur hour, but like you compare Fujimoto's artwork to like the more cleaner, uh, prettier uh artists in the manga, like yeah, it's all subject to opinion. You can disagree, but like I think of Horikoshi, I think of Kubo, I think of Kishimoto, I think of Oda, and I'm like, I think they all like, just from a technical perspective, just look better than Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, it's not necessarily an art style that I would be uh actively enthused by in the same way as like someone like Kyo Shinja or Kotoyama, where I look at their art and I'm like, wow, I really am attracted to this style and need more of it. And on that note, actually, weirdly enough, Kotoyama has also a super rough art style, and I kind of think it pulls it off way better.
Is Kotoyama the Call of the Night guy?
Yeah, he's the Call of the Night guy. And it doesn't come out in the anime at all, but the manga is sort of rough with like the character outlines and
I've
artwork
seen
generally.
the character art of Call of the Night on the covers. They have really nice covers, especially of, oh god, when Anko's on the cover. Whew, oh boy.
Oh, I've seen some of those, but yeah, like I think Kotoyama pulls off the roughness better. Like I have the manga volume literally out right now. Just looking, it looks nice. I'm actively gravitated towards that style, and indifferent to Chainsaw Man's. I don't hate it, but the anime is better. I'm getting more convinced as the conversation continues.
Yeah, I'm even looking at other grungy manga art to compare. Like the main example that popped in my head was Doro Hedoro. Yeah, you remember that one, right?
I know what it is. I have not read the manga.
I'm looking at manga art right now, and it's got a it's got a very similar grungy, detailed, sketchy art style, but it's a it's a lot. While it is like also very edgy and rough, it is also it's rough on like a texture level, whereas Fujimoto is rough on a composition level, like where his like the outlines of his characters aren't like the cleanest, whereas like you look at something like Dorohedoro and like it's textured roughly, like you can see like all of like the different levels of shading that goes on, and where like from a technical standpoint it's very clean and beautiful and like complicatedly put together, but while managing to pull off a like grungy look. But Fujimoto's just looks just kind of rough, and it doesn't look bad, just a little rough.
Well, I think we've been talking about the visuals for quite a bit longer than I expected to, actually. Let's say we talk about uh just
Yeah,
what
long
happens
story
in the
short,
show.
no, Chainsaw Man looks fucking beautiful. You guys are retarded.
So the first or rather the latter half of episode 8 and the entirety of episode 9 are pretty much dedicated to this big ol' action scene. And it's what we were describing before, where all these people are shooting, and they are out for Denji. They want to take Denji back dead and steal his heart and give it to the Gun Devil, because they are actively in cahoots with the Gun Devil. Because apparently, the Gun Devil broke as hell. He's got no money. And so
he's got no money, no bitches.
So he's actively he needs money, basically. And so
Yeah,
actually,
if
I'm
you
trying
give
to
me
remember.
money, I give you guns.
Yeah. And so these people are all after Denji and co getting back the heart. And the main two guys we are paying attention to, I forgot their names, but one of them has katanas for hands, so that's pretty cool.
I just called the katana guy the Katana Man, and then the other one is named Sawatari.
Sawatari. That's actually a cool name. How did I forget that?
They
Sawatari.
didn't say it too often, so I don't blame you.
And
I barely remember if they said the Katana dude's actual name.
I think they mostly just called him the Katana dude.
Yeah,
But
it's Katana Man or Samurai Sword.
Katana Man, he's got a personal stake in this, right? Because his father was the dude that got Denji way back in the day to, go on all these different devil hunting missions because his father was indebted to him. And Denji, even though he was a zombie, Denji killed him. And so Katana Man is like, oof, that's pretty cringe, Denji. Not gonna, that was out of pocket, Denji. You should apologize. And Denji was like, no, I won't apologize. And he's like, damn, bro, you won't even apologize for killing my dad? What are you, Satan? That's exactly how the dialogue went down, word for word. And so because of this, yeah, he sort of got a bone to pick with Denji here. And so in this fight, the first one, they shoot Himeno and Aki. Or no, do they shoot? I don't actually. Okay, I don't think they shoot
graze
Aki.
Aki.
Okay, yeah, they grazed Aki, but they definitely shoot Himeno and Denji. Like Denji is out at first.
Yeah, Denji got fucking domed.
And so Aki's facing off at first against Katana Man, and he eventually ends up using Curse, which cuts down his lifespan, which we'll later learn to a very significant degree. like way more than I expected it to be.
He's
at
only
first.
got 2 years left in him.
Yeah, but and this eventually. Okay, so he thinks he killed the Katana Man, but no, Sawatari comes out and she's like, no, the fight ain't over. Katana Man can still fight. She literally asked Katana Man, like, why did you lose? He's like, oh, I underestimated him, Sawatari. And so they eventually have a rematch, and eventually, it looks like Aki's on the brink, so Himeno, she decides to do her big sacrifice and sacrifice her entire self to her devil in order to finish the fight. Very impactful moment. She literally like disappears bit by bit. Uh I love this moment so much where Sawatari is just like snake and then one fingernail peels off and then boom, the snake literally eats the devil that Himeno literally sacrificed her life for.
Yeah,
Just
how fucked up is
instantly.
that? Yeah, like Himeno is just like giving. Let mind you, like in order to just use the hand of the ghost devil, she gave up her eye, and to use like its full power, she had to give up her entire self. Whereas this bitch, all happens is a fingernail crumbles to dust on her hand, and this big ass snake just eats the entirety of the ghost devil and just one shots it, and like Himeno's sacrifice is basically all for naught.
I guess the only thing I can think is okay, so each time a different fingernail comes off. So the logistics of that, what that implies to me is that her fingernail would have to regrow before using it again. So maybe it's balanced out in that she just has such a limited ability to use it, but even still, like dang.
And
And apparently it can also steal Himeno's devil because
yeah,
Sawatari ends up using it against Aki in the final fight.
yeah, I didn't quite understand the logistics behind that one, especially when the Ghost Devil turns around and presents Aki with the first cigarette that Himeno offered
Oh yeah.
Aki, and with
Now that you're
one final
mentioning
message.
that, yeah, I have no idea why the devil did that. And they don't actually explain how she's using the devil. I just sort of assumed that it was because the snake ate it. 'Cause, I mean, what else would it be?
Yeah, like I would assume that's the reason, but then like did the ghost like regain its autonomy? Was it some Himeno influence from beyond the grave?
Just a
Because
little wacky.
like did she write easy revenge on the cigarette before before or after she passed on? I because I'd imagine it'd be after, right?
Not gonna lie, I thought Aki wrote it.
Why would he write on the cigarette?
I don't know, but I just didn't know how else the words would get there. Because they haven't really established any way for Himeno to write it beyond the grave. I mean, maybe she wrote it before she died, but then why?
Well, they also do a thing where like before after she gets eaten by the snake devil, the one hand of the ghost devil before it fades away completely pulls on Denji's ripcord and turns him into the chainsaw man. So I'd
Oh,
imagine
it
there's
could
some
have
like
wrote it.
lingering influence maybe.
Perhaps. But anyway, Himeno is sacrificed, or actually, I'm just gonna storm on ahead because I have something I need to say. And because last podcast I was riffing on Aki being like, oh, he's just deadpan, he's just boring, he's not that interesting of a character. I have eaten my words and hard.
Is Aki cool and base now?
He is indeed very cool and based. And the moment that got me, right? So I think it's beginning of episode 10. At least I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And Aki is in the hospital bed. He's got his hair down. First of all, he looks way cooler with his hair down. He should just keep it like that. But
You're
second
not
of
a
all,
fan of the top knot?
no, I am not a fan of the top knot. He should just. He looks cool with his hair down. Why can't he always have
He
it
looks
like
like
that?
a Sasuke.
But he's in the hospital bed. And it's this very touching moment where he asks Denji, like, okay, who survived in our group? And he's like, Kobani, some dude who immediately quit his job. Yeah, that's about it.
Raffle now.
And Aki's just like, oh, I see. And then, as soon as Denji leaves, he just starts crying. Because it's established earlier from Himeno's dialogue that Aki gets very, very attached to his comrades. Whereas Denji and Power don't. They do not. And Aki, it's like that context it just makes it hit all the harder. And then later on, he's, basically the fox spirit, the Kon left him. And so now he has to get a new devil, else
Cone
he'll become...
left him and took the fucking kids.
Yeah, he went out, Kon went out for some milk, just went out for a smoke.
Yeah.
And so Aki needs to get a new devil, and I just really enjoy the build up to this scene, because that Aki would be willing to give up pretty much anything at this point, because he has 2 years left. Oh, that's another thing that made me feel that Aki is completely based, which is that he's already given up so much to take on the Gun Devil, where he literally has 2 years left to live. And it's just like he'd give up anything if it meant that he could make the Gun Devil eat shrapnel or something. Get his face on the curb. So
Get one kick in the nuts.
Yeah. So Aki, that's another based Aki moment, where I imagine we'll get to that, but yeah, he just has a bunch of based moments. He's doing based things, feeling based emotions. He's just really interesting to me now. He no longer comes off as just...
Formed a contract with the base as hell future devil.
I also want to talk about that, because the future devil... I love him so much, because
he
literally...
was in one episode and became one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, well, my favorite character... Oh, we'll get to that, but... This is probably the most bang for your buck great character writing, because every single line out of this dude's mouth and every single thing he does is incredible, and the only reason he isn't up there for me is just that he's literally there for like 5 minutes. But
the future's the best. The future's the best. Come on, dance with me, Aki. Chant with me.
The thing that hard sells him is when he's... Okay, so he decides that he's gonna, well, actually, no. So the previous episode, it has been set up that the future devil, he generally takes on very rough contracts that hurt you a lot. So one guy had to have his remaining lifespan. The other guy had to give up his eyesight, his taste, and his smell just to have the future devil's powers. The future devil for Aki is just like, yeah, let me live in your eye, Rafflemau. Yeah, just keep me there. I'll just stick with you, be a voice in your head. And Aki gives him a look, and he's like, oh, your face tells me, your face tells me that you're wondering, oh, is that it? Well, let me tell you, Aki, why I want to join with you. Because I've seen your death. And your death is gonna fucking rule. How cool is that?
It is very cool that he's just gonna be like, oh, like I. It made me laugh so much because that is how you endear me to a weirdo character like the future devil. It's like, oh yeah, like normally I require the highest payments of shit that will permanently debilitate you for life. But nah, just let me live in your eye and just see how your life plays out, because I want to be there when your death happens, because it's gonna be rad as fuck, and like I gotta get a front row seat, dog.
I do wonder how, because we don't really see Aki using it, at least in any detail. And
I
I
think
do wonder
well,
how it's gonna
we
work.
see it like when he's fighting the ghost devil, but we don't see like it in motion. He just tells him
Yeah.
that, oh, all right, with my power, you can see into the future for just a little bit, and I imagine the practical applications that he sees attacks coming, and so he just is able to dodge them faster.
See, I'm wondering if we'll ever actually see it unfold. Because, well, let's just say in Mushoku Tensei, there's a very similar power. And I absolutely adored it in that show, because they showed in exacting detail how Rudius was able to use it and how it worked for him. And we actually got to see it in motion. And in that show, Rudius had to like get used to always seeing things coming ahead of time, and like it took him like literally a week or something like that just to be able to like function again in day-to-day life, because he was so not used to it. And I'm just wondering, will the power be that cool? Probably not, but hey, it works as it is.
I'm hoping, and I will allow Chainsaw Man manga readers to spoil me on this thing. I am hoping that Aki gets to converse with the future devil on the inside, just so we can hear more funny future devil dialogue. I hope it's
I'm
just
sure
a
we
voice that
will.
lives in his head.
Oh, I can't wait for the Aki future devil banter. You know it's gonna be top tier.
Like, it's bad enough he's got to share his home with Denji and power. Now he has a devil living inside of him that he can't turn off. He has a devil living inside him for the rest of his life until he dies, which he's already been told will be like the fucking worst.
Kobani. Kobani is cool now. She
Co-
is
Co-
legitimately.
or maybe Kobani was always cool.
She was always cool, but this arc of episodes, she is so cool. Kobani is my favorite character. I'm gonna just say that outright. Kobani, she's so cool.
She
So-
does get the most surprising moment where we were told back in the Eternity Devil arc, where Himeno says Kobani, she's got the moves, but she's just like her nerves are getting the best of her, and she is holding her back. But we still don't know what her devil is in the anime, and I don't want spoilers on that, viewers. So
I mean, I already know what it is. It's the sloppy blowjob devil.
well,
But everyone knows
obviously.
that.
Well, yeah, but we don't know we don't know what exactly the power of the sloppy blowjob devil, why it makes her such a badass. On top of probably giving the sloppiest BJs known to man, but that's neither here nor there. So Kobani, when all the hope seems lost, when the Katana Man, he got fucked up by Aki and by Denji a little bit, but was able to cut Denji in half, and he and Sawatari had taken his body, and they got their crew kind of fucked up by Makima, but just before they can get away with it, Kobani tracks him down, knife and gun in tow, and she's just like, "Are you with the shooters?" And based Kobani, even though Sawatari just threw like the entire snake devil at her, which we just saw overpowered the ghost devil that Himeno had to offer her entire self to in order to help Aki, she just fucking noped it and jumped over it, ran along the top of it, and then just bodied both her and the Katana Man.
Not even just that, but before that, when Arai and her were getting shot at, so Arai gave up his life in order to save Kobani. And Kobani is like, completely traumatized by this, not having a good time. But she rushes towards the gunman, takes his hand, shoves it right up to his chin, and fires.
That
all in,
was
like,
baller
one
as fuck.
Yeah, that was metal. Kobeni had my respect for that one. Kobeni, she's so cool now. She's not only
I
a
love
scaredy
her.
cat, but also she's pulling out some baller moves.
I love that dynamic that she has now in the thing, because like, yeah, at first you think, oh, she probably isn't like that impressive, because when she gives her backstory about being like, it was either like the devil hunting or the sex industry to put my brother through college to make money. So you're thinking like, okay, maybe this person didn't have like much skill or aptitude in like society, and this is like the only thing that she could do. No, she's a fucking sick, nasty badass, but she still gets like nervous and squeamish around blood, and like it strikes me as the type she's like, even though she hates her job, but she also hates that she's so good at it.
She is incredible at her job. Yeah, she's just my favorite character now. Unquestionably.
And then she has her last line in the season is like, she like another badass Kobeni moment when Sawatari is about to sick the snake devil on Aki, try to take him out. She's already got her by the throat with her knife, being like, haha, nope, you lost, bitch. And then Aki's like, hey Kobeni, why didn't you quit when you had the chance? And she's like, bonuses are coming up soon. And the way I interpreted that line was like, she's like sticking around for the money, because like, yeah, the job fucking sucks and I hate it, but at least it pays well. But I like to imagine that she was getting a little payback for or wanted to see some justice for her boys Himeno and Arai.
Just compare what Kobeni did this block of episodes. Compare that to what Power did. She ran away. She ran away like a coward.
Yeah, Power was not as red pilled this time. But then that's where the training arc comes in, where the captain, the Kishibe of the Special Division 4 comes in and trains Denji and Power to become even stronger devil hunters.
Kishibe is yet another example of how this show's characters are so immediately endearing. And that's, why this show works so well for me. Because he has, like, granted, we've seen a little bit of him before from Himeno's backstory, but this is the first time we're getting a proper introduction to him. He has this very slow, drawling voice, and he asks Denji and Power a series of 3 questions. He's like, yo, first of all, are you sad that your comrades passed away? I'm probably gonna mess up the questions somehow, but I'm gonna try recounting them. And they're like, not really. And he's like, 2, do you want revenge for your comrade's death? And Denji says like, nah, that sounds depressing. Number 3, I don't actually remember what the 3rd question is now, do you?
It's funny that you don't remember the 3rd question, because I wrote this down thinking like, oh no, Crunchy, this is certified Crunchy hates Power now moment, because he asked, whose side are you on, the humans or the devils?
Oh yeah.
And then Power said, whoever side is winning. And I was like, uh-oh, Majima moment.
Well, you see, there's a difference between being a good character and sucking, and Power most assuredly does not suck. I thought that was based. And Denji's reply is
so it's cool when Power does, but when Majima and Liko does it, it's not cool.
You see, Sputtle would ask that question, but unironically.
Well, he'll have plenty of time to ask that in the Anime Awards podcast coming soon. Subscribe.
If I ask him that during the Anime Awards podcast, it'll be like 3 hours of its runtime.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Denji's reply is that whichever side takes care of me. And Kishibe is just like, yo, you guys are awesome.
My boys.
Yeah. I also love, well, first of all, he is a complete alcoholic, even worse than the girl in Bocchi. he just is constantly drinking all the time. He thinks that the liquor helps his brain get a move, and he's constantly taking swigs. And his method of training Power and Denji, his rationalization is, okay, listen, bro, I've never trained devils before. I've only trained humans. So I thought, well, hold on, how do I train a devil? And then I realized, I'm the best devil hunter. So, whichever devil beats me would be the best devil. So, I'm going to continue hunting you until you guys beat me. And what that entails is Kishibe repeatedly, it goes out of its way to specify this, killing Denji dozens of times over and over again. He holds no mercy. And neither do Denji and Power. They just, they're not afraid to take hammers to his head, take spears near his throat. And he's just fine with it. He's like, okay, you know what? I've killed you dozens of times. It's fair if you tried to kill me. And he's just like completely confident in himself and has no hesitations at all.
I love how he's like super nonchalant about it. And literally the first thing he does to them before like beginning the training is like he brings them in for a hug, but then actually just like breaks both of their necks, only to revive them with blood to be like, hey, like even though you guys are built like humans, if you guys just drink a little blood, you'll heal up even from something as like normally would put a human out, like a broken neck. You'll just heal up from with a little bit of blood. So knowing this, I'm going to kill you guys over and over and again, and just like bring you back with the blood so you could take another swing at me.
The characters are just all so fun in this show, and
yeah,
Kishibe
I
is
love
yet
how,
another amazing addition.
I love how Kishibe brings out the sibling dynamic between Denji and Power even more so than they already have had before. I love how Denji has started to call Power Powie.
That was adorable.
That
And
is fucking
I
sweet.
love the scene of them like scheming together to try and beat him, and they both put on glasses and a lab coat.
Like they didn't need to do that at all. Like they're doing this during their fucking like an ambush attempt on Kishibe, and like it doesn't it is purely just because they're so goofy. And they're you know what I appreciate about it? They're goofy, but they're not like anime goofy. We're not like derailing the direction of the scene, or like the pacing or the tone of the scene by having them dress up like this. They're just naturally this goofy, and the world like treats it as such.
And not gonna lie, Power looks real cute in that lab coat and glasses.
That's the fit she's gonna wear when she wins the Nobel Prize.
Oh, she absolutely would wear that to the Nobel Prize. She'd be like, oh look, I'm so smart now, Denji.
I told you I had 1,000 IQ.
Another interesting bit about the characterization of Denji specifically is that after Himeno dies, he's thinking back on all the time they spent together, the time they nearly slept in the same bed and did all sorts of things, and she was like blackout drunk, and he's like, huh, I spent time with this person, and she considered me a friend, and I don't feel that sad that she's gone. And she's like, wait, would I feel sad about Power dying? No, not really. Aki? Nah. Makima? I mean, sure, I'd be out of commission for 3 days, but, after 3 days of, like, eating good food, I feel like I'd just get over it. And, he questions to himself, like, should I feel this way? Should I be this nonchalant about death? And the question does remain unresolved at this juncture in time, where Denji's like, whatever, this is depressing to think about. I'm just gonna move on. But
yeah, I love how that's his response to it. It's like, yeah, this is a buzzkill. I'm just gonna stop thinking about it.
I wish I
let's
could
just go
be
see
like
Makima
that.
instead. Well,
But
I love it. It makes sense for Denji because literally the only person he has ever loved before becoming a devil hunter is Puchita, and that was his only friend. He's lived his entire life basically uh unable to form connections with anyone else because who has time for forming friendships and relationships when you're indebted to the fucking mob and they'll kill you dead if you don't pay the fuck up.
yeah, that is an interesting facet of the situation. And something I like is that it seems like this will be a recurring theme throughout the story moving forward. Because the Katana dude is like, yo, Denji, you're Satan. You have no empathy. You don't even feel bad at all. And although Katana Man was completely in the wrong in that situation for obvious reasons, it's still yet another reminder like, oh, yeah, Denji really is very gung ho and not, he doesn't feel down
He is
about
not
Himeno's
lawful
death.
good.
Yeah.
He is he is very much he's almost true neutral. I was gonna say chaotic neutral, but that is just power.
I mean, it depends. When Denji is with power, he is absolutely chaotic neutral.
Yeah, well, all right. Power is like 100% always chaotic neutral. Denji is 50% chaotic neutral, 50%
There we
true.
go.
He
But
is
yeah.
he's not the most morally upright boy.
And I
But
feel
you
like
can't
that's
you can't
going
blame
to
him.
be a facet of his characterization that will recur. And it's one of the ones I'm more excited to see brought back throughout the show and expanded upon more because it's a really interesting thing, or rather, a really interesting way to explore his character. Excuse me, his character. And yeah, I'm hyped for that.
Speaking of characters, episode 11 gets us a quick little. We don't get to spend too much time with them, but I found a nice appetizer for if we ever get to dive more into the Chainsaw Man anime. A whole smorgasbord of new members of the Special Division 4, and they're all well, everyone aside from the Spider Devil, who just seems kind of there. But everyone else is very interesting to I'm
I mean,
interested to explore them.
I'm interested in all of them, but at the same time, they don't really have. Well, scratch that. The Angel Devil gets a few lines with Aki, and her thing is being very nonplussed,
You fell for
non-reactive.
it.
It's used so much that way that
Hit his.
it basically means the opposite of what it means at this point. Like I can never use. I refuse to use nonplussed the way it's meant to be used because it
Oh
doesn't.
no, I meant you got Angel Devil's gender wrong.
Wait, what?
You said her. He's a dude.
Wait, what?
Uh oh.
I
Did
did
dust
not
fall for the
know.
trap?
I did. I did.
Uh. Hey, you know what? It's biblically accurate.
But the
Also,
angel
I just
devil, who is a boy, apparently.
I love the. I'm just immediately enticed by that contrast. The Angel Devil,
It's a
who
very.
whose
We get
power
a
is that
little.
he drains your lifespan with just a mere touch. Like if you make skin to skin contact, your lifespan will be drained.
Dang, he never getting laid.
He never gonna get that sweet Aki bus.
But the way he's described by Kishibe is that he's a devil, but he feels no hostility towards humans, and is like completely willing to go along with them. And uh, yeah, he can also fling his wings out in front of people as like a shield. He's pretty cool. I want to see more of him. The rest of them don't really get speaking lines. Just introductions from Kishibe. Like we got the Shark Devil, which is hilarious to behold.
I'm a fan of the Shark Fiend and the Violence Fiend.
I actually forget what was the Violence Fiend's thing.
His thing was that usually when a devil becomes a fiend, they become weaker, and because they have to take a more mortal, limited body compared to their devil forms. But the violence fiend in particular is so dangerous. He has to have a mask on that dispenses poison gas at all
I
times,
remember him now.
and it cannot be taken off at any point. I just love that, like, we've already established that in the world of Chainsaw Man, the devils get their power based on things people are afraid of, and the more people are afraid of a thing, the more powerful the concept of that devil will be. Like, sharks, people are afraid of sharks, people are afraid of spiders. Angels, that's like interesting to think about, not just in this contrast of like the angel devil, but also like, is it like a heaven thing? Is it like is angel devil gonna turn into like a biblically accurate angel and like melt some people's eyeballs or something? But then we have the violence fiend.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the concept of violence, and what we see him, he just throws hands with everyone and like beats them into bloody pulps. Uh, I just love that, like, people are so afraid of the concept of violence, in general, that even though the violence devil had to become the violence fiend and should have became weaker, the devil hunters are like, yeah, no, this guy's still too dangerous to be left to his own devices. We have to put this gas mask on him that will kill him if he takes it off.
The gas mask looks super cool, by the way. I am a big fan of his design.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his design. I love the shark fiend. I'm not too big on his like shark head when he's like transformed into the shark devil head, but when it's just the mask, or like the kind of like a mask helmet hybrid, I'm a fan of that.
Honestly, the shark head thing, he looks so goofy with it that I kind of like it, semi-ironically.
I also think his power is real baller. It gives him the power to swim through any surface, even if it's like the wall or the floor. It just becomes a liquid to him.
Now that is interesting. I want to see where it goes with that.
There,
or maybe
there's
it'll
a
just be diving into surfaces. I don't know.
There's a stand in JoJo Part 5 called Oasis, which is literally this exact same power. It's this dude, he wears it like a suit, and it allows him to dive into the ground and swim through it like water. It just
Chainsaw
reminded
Man
me of that.
inspired by JoJo's, confirmed.
Everything's inspired by JoJo's.
Breathing? I think I saw that in JoJo's once.
Let's see.
Makima. We didn't really talk about her powers much.
We talked about her resurrection / death denying powers, or like reincarnating powers.
Also,
she can also pop you like a fucking balloon into nothingness.
She has power. She basically, the best way I can describe it is the Death Note, but a religious ritual, and you need to kill an innocent, or not an innocent, rather, just a random person.
Yeah, it seems like you need to sacrifice a life in order to do it. Yeah. But in exchange, you get to, I assume there's no limit to the range on this shit, because she was I don't know exactly how far Kyoto is from Tokyo. I know they're two cities, but like even, I assume that as long as she has a name and a body to sacrifice, she could be on the other side of the planet and still be able to use this, I'd imagine. And at first, it's a scary fucking power, especially if you're on the receiving end of it, because like you feel like, something's not right. And sometimes maybe you get a little bleeding from the nose, and like, that's weird, I got a nosebleed out of nowhere. And then suddenly your head is caving in on itself until you explode into a big pool of blood, and you're left, only your clothes are left. There's no like guts sprayed anywhere. There's no like loose eyes or hair, or like arms or limbs flying off anywhere. No, you were just blood. You've been effectively
straight
evaporated.
Up raptured.
Yeah.
This specific block of episodes loves to show just how I guess, malicious, violent, and cold-blooded Makima is, where so first of all, she knew this was all going to happen. She knew that a bunch of devil hunters were gonna get attacked because of Denji, and she was, for whatever reason, just fine with letting people die. And nobody knows why at this juncture, but she is getting pressed on it a little bit by people around the same level of power as her, of why she, despite knowing about this, just let it happen. There's the scene where she gets off of the bus, and she's seeing the two people that she's meant to meet, and she's like completely fine, no wounds. The two people look at her like, "Yo, are you okay? You're bleeding, dude." And Makima's like, "No, I'm not. I'm not bleeding. This is the other people's blood." In just the most calm, cold voice imaginable, as it slowly zooms in. That is such a baller moment.
Yeah,
And
we never see Makima like on the back foot. We never see her stressed or like panicking. She's always in control of the situation. No matter how bleak it looks or how tense the uh scene she finds herself in. And like she carries a lot of menace to her words even when she's not like directly being menacing. When the two people that she meets with meet her at the bus, and the after the guy quits, they're like, "Hey, we're not gonna stick around for long, right? After we're done coaching your division, we're gonna go back to our uh team in Kyoto. You know that, right, Makima?" And she's like, "Oh, that's a shame. The cuisine in Tokyo is to die for."
even that was kind of menacing. Uh,
And like she doesn't put any like special emphasis on like any word. She just like says it flat out, outright, plain as day. No theatrics, no Machiavellian scheming. It's just it's just her being straightforward, and that's so much scarier.
another great Makima moment is when she's talking to Kishibe. And Kishibe is once again grilling her on how she knew all this would happen beforehand. And Kishibe's like, "Yo, why?" And Makima is like, I'm trying to remember exactly what she said.
I think she was saying something like, I do this for the good of
Yeah.
mankind."
Okay, I remember it more clearly where she's like, by I think it's like by taking them head on right now. Rather, she somehow wraps it into like the new mission with like the newly formed fourth group or whatever, and she's like, by letting them do this thing and take on the tower with all the people inside, we can make it into like an official thing, and it'll be on the public record, and then we can more easily help other people. Just a bunch of waffle about how it's actually awesome that she let this fourth group form from the remains of innocents dying about an attack she knew about. Kishibe is like, "You're lying." And Makima just
He's on to her
ever
bullshit.
the best part of it, though, is that Makima just ever so slightly smiles at the very end of the scene. Then it just cuts away, just ever so slightly smiling. Like it's almost like she's excited that someone's calling her out. It's so
Maybe
good.
it's making the game more fun.
But a big tier Makima moment, right? So she's talking with the basically the Yakuza. And what she wants is for them to give up the names of everyone in the other Yakuza groups who made a pact with the Gun Devil. And at first, the Yakuza guy gives her a bunch of waffle about how, "Oh, we're a necessary evil. You shouldn't kill this many people, or arrest them, rather." And the Yakuza, "Listen, I'm not going to rat them out, because if I rat them out, the other dudes are going to take me on. We're going to self destruct, and we're going to be dead meat." And without the Yakuza here, well, the Yakuza of other countries, the mob, will come in here in our stead. And, we're actually the good guys, Makima.
Yeah, you think we're bad? Look at what the fucking Chinese do.
And Makima is like, yo, I took stuff from, your wives, your kids, your family, all those people near to you. I took something from them in this bag right here. And she opens it up, and it's their literal eyeballs. She's like, yeah, I know a guy who can put these back in, but I need those names, right? And it's like, whoa. Okay.
So, like, did she... It's scary to think about how she, like, found all their loved ones. And then just to think about how she extracted their eyes from them.
Like,
And
what are
just,
they
like-
doing right now? Are they all presumably
Are
just
they-
going one-eyed, crying or whatever?
Are they in the hospital? Are they traumatized
Probably.
for life? Yes, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, they just got their eyes taken.
They were using those, man. There's so much to love to hate about Makima.
I mean, I don't hate her. I just think she's, obviously a good person.
She's cooking.
No,
she's
but
cooking up something.
I like how her mind's always a scheming, the machinations always in motion, the gears always turning, manipulating everyone she needs to, wrapping Denji around her finger. It's very interesting to see unfold.
They've got the one thing standing in her way still is the Gun Devil. And now that they acquired a big old chunk of the Gun Devil's flesh from the Katana Man and Sawatari, Makima's like, we finally have enough flesh to magnetize it to point to the Gun Devil's position. So that's when we're gonna be able to find it in season 2, which has not been confirmed at the time of this recording, but like literally there's no way they don't make season 2.
Well, they said that about No Game, No Life, so...
I mean, they made No Game No Life 0.
Yeah, but that's a prequel movie.
Yeah, but like there is negative chance that they don't make season 2 to this, especially when they go out of their way to tease a certain character at the very end before the like actual ending of the 12th episode.
Well, Mappa adapts everything, and so on that premise and that premise alone, well, as well as the show just being popular, yeah, it's probably getting a season 2.
Yeah,
let's be real.
I just hope that they once again are able to take their time with it and not rush out a second season, because like they've got a real good thing on their hands. What they need is to just give it the time it needs in the oven and give them the greatest Chainsaw Man adaptation they can possibly give us.
Yeah, please no Tatakai with like 2 frames of animation, please. Give us the good stuff. And with that, do you want to just transition into the final episode? Because I feel like we've talked about everything important up to then.
There's one thing we can do before we talk about like the like end of the anime and like a big wrap up thing. We gotta finish what we started. We gotta do the final ranking of all of the ending themes.
Oh yeah. I meant to rewatch those before the podcast, but then I forgore.
I rewatched some in preparation, and I was going over them. I was paying close attention to them during this watch for the podcast, and I have the definitive list, and some of my early placements have shifted since then. So
I don't
this'll
have
be
a
fun to go through.
definitive list, but I do have a favorite ending. And it's I have a feeling you're gonna big time disagree with it. So
Is it still the power one?
Actually, no, it is the power one. I completely forgot about how awesome that is. Never mind. Okay, it's my second favorite.
All right, what's your second favorite then?
ED12. There's something about it where at the
That
very
one was
end
my
of the
fifth
show.
favorite.
Okay. There's
It
something
is one of the
about
good ones.
at the very end of the show, just watching the characters have a fun time and just going around, just chilling out, having a slice of life adventure. Something about it just rubs all the atoms in my brain the right way.
It's not even a slice of life adventure. They're just like hanging out at the
Yeah.
playground, going shopping at the grocery store, just eating their dinner.
It's just chill.
I
Aside
mean,
from
big
that,
big shout out to Power and Casual Clothes. That's always a winner.
aside from that, there's one that I thought was. I'm sure you'll agree with me here, and I'll let you get to your ranking before I actually spoil it. But there's one that I wasn't a huge fan of.
Um, Overall, I would say the first half of the show's EDs are better than their second halves because the way my ranking goes. Okay, so I'll go worst to best, and because we talked about some of these in the last ones, I'll try to be as quick as possible to so we don't go over like the 2 hour mark. So worst by default is just the first one because it's literally just a credits roll with music over it. So like for all intents and purposes, it shouldn't even count, but it does. So
Oh yeah,
you know.
I wasn't counting that. So
Okay, so
in terms of
the
visuals, it's the worst, obviously. But I was not thinking about that.
okay, so my least favorite one, sans the first one, is ED9 Deep Down by Aimer from the ninth episode.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to disagree with you there. Uh,
I was just like the shading is nice, but like the visuals that they have on screen are like they're real boring when held up to most of the other EDs in this list, and like it's an okay send off for uh Himeno, but I feel like ED8, the one that came before it, it does a nicer job of sending her off.
88 is definitely better, and although I forget the song now, I did write in my notes, song-wise, ED8 is my fave so far. But
Oh, it's called First Death, and it's by TK from Ling Tosite Sigure.
hmm, I'll have to look it up.
If you've definitely heard of him if you don't recognize the name because he did the Tokyo Ghoul song.
Oh, I should have put it together as soon as one part of the song came out, which was the only part of the song that I didn't really like when his voice did the Tokyo Ghoul thing, essentially.
Well, that's his shtick. That's he's able to get his voice that high.
I don't like it. It's
That's
more
what people love him for.
tolerable.
That's what I like him for.
It's more tolerable than the Tokyo Ghoul one by far, to be fair. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Tokyo Ghoul opening.
Yeah,
But ED9,
I just
I like the visuals. I have no memory of the song. I will admit the EDs in the first half kind of clear it, but I was still a
yeah.
fan of the visuals in ED9, which I cannot say about. Well, I'll wait when you get to it.
All right. The next worst is ED11.
Okay, so that's
Violence.
the one.
Yeah, Violence by Queen Bee. It's an I was expecting more from Queen Bee because like they did fucking the first opening from Dororo. Am I crazy? Did they do one for Jujutsu? No, Eve did that.
I have zero thoughts about the song because I legitimately have just blanked it from my memory, like most of the songs here.
They're
But
okay, but the visuals were kind of lame. It's just like the characters in CG doing like action poses, and that's like that's the kind of ED I would make for Chainsaw Man if it was like more of a generic shonen anime and not this
actually,
more
okay,
character driven.
I mixed up two of the EDs. But actually what I said still applies because I didn't like the visuals for this one either.
No, the
Uh,
visuals on this one are weak too.
I Okay, so they're not the weakest visuals. We're still getting there, but
Okay, so
yeah, I definitely
my
didn't
next
like this one.
my next worst one is 7, which was the one with the kiss between Himeno and Denji. That one I just kind of find the song annoying personally. Like the visuals on that one are creative. I like the 80s and 90s aesthetic of it, and I appreciate the great lengths they did to do like a full like 360-degree angle drawing of the vomit kiss scene. I appreciate that on an artistic level. I
Honestly,
just
that scene of just the vomit being shown is 90% of why I like that ED.
I just find the song itself kind of annoying, but although it also does get bonus points for putting the girls in lingerie, so I can't complain too much. Um the next worst one is ED10 Dogland by People One.
Okay, this is the actual one.
You thought this one was bad?
I wouldn't even say bad because I mean I wouldn't say any of the EDs are outright bad, but this one was intent along with ED 11 as being intensely mediocre and just getting not much of a response out of me because significant portions of this ED are just filtered real life footage, which to be fair, normally I'm all for the mixed media aesthetic. We ranted about Bocchi the Rock. You know me. I like mixed media. I like Shaft when they do it. This just didn't do it well. It's just kind
I
of
I liked
filtered
it.
real life footage.
The dogs
There's
I
like
was not the dogs I could have done without. That was kind of weird, but I liked the environments.
uh it's just not really all that great. The other thing that really did me in was just the like super sketchy characters. Like it's fine, but it just none of it looks. It feels like it's almost trying to have like a homemade aesthetic, but it's not going all the way. That was really the vibe that I got from it. Where if it's got the real life backgrounds and the sketchy characters, but just doesn't quite feel homemade, but at the same time it kind of does. Just feels like it's attempting to do something but not really pulling it off all the way.
I I think it looks pretty neat. I like the sketchiness of it. I really like the shot of Denji like running down the alleyway and the cameras going all over the place. It's animated real nicely.
That I do like. I'll give it props for that. But
Yeah, I
there
just think the
are
song is kind of mid and forgettable.
I would also say that about the ED, seeing as I have forgotten it.
Yeah, but like from here on out, all of the songs from like this moment on are like range from they're pretty good to banger. The next one is ED6 Rendezvous by Conaria. That was the one that had the manga looking visuals where like nothing was really animated. It was all just kind of like stills that they drew like from the manga.
Oh yeah, I really liked that one too.
Like that one was kind of lame and like bare minimum doing it for me for the visuals, but the song is a bop. I like the big techno beat of it.
No memories of the song. A lot of these I
This
probably won't have
one
much of a comment for, honestly.
this one was the one that went like da 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 da
Okay,
ba, ba, ba.
I'm remembering it a little more now.
Yeah, that
Uh,
one was good. Next one is this one has fallen down from my previous ranking from the last podcast. ED2, I believe it was like Time Left by Zio something. I forget the band name, but uh it was hard carried for me by the visuals, but the song just didn't do too much for me.
I do like the visuals for that one, but
Yeah,
yeah, not much to
that
say.
Yeah, then then this is the spot where for the top 5, this is where I'd put ED12. Uh for this one was Fight Song by Eve, who did the who's most famous for Kai Kai Katan from Jujutsu Kaisen. And we've already covered it's like a good home life ED. The song is good. The visuals are pleasant. It's nice to see basically the siblings of Denji, Power, and Big Bro Aki just hanging out, having dinner, fooling around on the playground. Real nice. Warms the fuzzies in my heart.
And my second favorite ED.
Next one would be ED5, In the Backrooms by Syodo.
That one would probably be, if I'm remembering this correctly, my third favorite.
Yeah, that one, the song fucking goes hard. The visuals are like trippy and all over the place. They animate horses.
Okay, so this is the song that I wanted to listen to again, and then never did.
Wow. Yeah, I bought this one, the Gonorrhea song, Time Left, the Powers one, the Maximum the Hormone one, the first one. I bought almost all of them from the last podcast except the Kiss one from ED7 because I just don't care for the song on this one. For the next best one was is the this one has fallen just one place behind, is the Power one.
Well, you're dead to me.
Like I appreciate, like I said before in the last podcast, I appreciate me some Power propaganda for the actual best girl of the show as much as the next guy. Kobani is a close second though. And the song is great. It's a real goofy. The instruments are real like twangy and untraditional, but it's real zany. But I like the song a lot. Then in second place, this is easily the best from this block, is First Death by TK. Visuals go crazy. TK's is not missing a beat. He does not miss. He got them pipes. The animation is stunning. The imagery is evocative. I really love the image of Himeno naked in the it looks like a forest of trees at first, but then you look closely at the trees and you realize they're the arms of the ghost devil.
They're
like,
cool.
Yeah, and like their roots are the fingers. Like that's cool. There's a lot of good animation and imagery in this one. And
this
of course
another one of those songs I need to listen to again.
Yeah, like this one is already on my my wish list. I'm probably gonna buy it after this podcast is done. And
we all know what your first place is.
Yeah, bro, it's Maximum the Hormone. Like, what are you gonna do? And Mappa fucking agrees with me because once again in this block of episodes,
I did notice that.
Yeah, after the Ghost Devil hand pulls on Denji's ripcord and turns him into the Chainsaw Man when he fights the Katana Devil for the first time, they're playing the Demon in the Name of Devil, and it's fucking badass. And the really bastards at what I assume is Warner Brothers still have not put it on fucking American streaming services or iTunes. Maybe it's on Spotify. I know it's not on fucking iTunes, which is a sin because literally all of the other ones are on iTunes. So what the fuck?
Like I said in the previous podcast, I would not listen to this song on its own, but with the music video, it's a bop.
Dude, that song's a fucking workout jam. Like, I'm imagining like laying down on the flat bench, fucking pumping the bar, or like doing pull-ups at the well, I guess also at the pull-up bar, and just hear the fucking it starts off with like the slow quiet chanting of Demon in the Name of Devil, and then the fucking drums kick in and the chorus goes like Demon in the Name of Devil. Like that's like, and then you fucking the shot of adrenaline goes through, and you start pumping and pulling up on the bar even harder. Like, that makes me want to go to the gym.
Well, wanting to go to the gym is not an emotion I have ever experienced, so I cannot relate to you on that front.
We gotta get you gym pilled, bro. We gotta get you on the fit boy swole
My
mindset.
arms are sticks. They
My arms were six once too. I once had stick legs.
The
Now I've got
winds could
fucking
snap them.
ripped ass calves.
Okay,
calves.
I bike, so actually my legs are pretty athletic, but my arms are sticks.
Bro, we gotta get you on the bar, man. I'm getting a gym membership in 2023. I'm getting fucking stacked.
I think I'm gonna continue being a stick. And with
that is the objective ranking of the Chainsaw Man endings. If you disagree, put yours in the comments, and so we can point and laugh at it for how wrong it is.
All right, each and every one of you listening right now, if you are a fan of the Power ED, type Neon Manta is wrong in the comment section down below.
It is a top 3 Chainsaw Man.
It is
ending.
a top 1.
Hey, if you were as Maximum the Hormone pilled as I am, you would be singing a different tune.
Unfortunately, I have 0 attachment to the band.
He is not death metal pilled.
No, I don't like death metal.
What you will see the I used to be literally the same way, and then I listened to more of it as I got older. And like, this kind of fucks. This music kind of has sex.
To be fair, most of the music I like is literally. I'm that guy who listens to anime OPs.
No,
and
you
Crunch.
You can't tell me you're that guy who listens to movie, game, and anime soundtracks only. You can't.
Well,
That's not allowed.
I also like alternative indie music. So I'm
that makes you a hipster, but not the worst thing.
I'm just barely not the worst thing. I like Lemon Demon and some Tally Hall songs, and a few rare
This might
American
be out of left
songs.
field. Are you a fan of They Might Be Giants?
No, as in I haven't heard of them.
Okay. I was only asking because I have a friend who is the biggest They Might Be Giants fan I know, and
I'm actually gonna look that up and I don't know, put the first song on my watch later. Watch later.
But that's enough of that. That's enough of that. Back to Chainsaw Man.
We're finally back on topic.
We've got less than 10 minutes left, so we can make sure this episode doesn't go longer than 2 hours. Let's wrap up the ending and our final thoughts on the anime.
All right, so the ending, banger. So Aki, the episode begins with Aki in let's just say a dire situation, getting choked out by Himeno's ghost devil. But he has a flashback and he remembers Himeno telling him that the ghost devil apparently can't see because it got no eyes and instead senses the world through fear. So Aki just decides to calm himself, steal his resolve, climb on top of that bad boy, and then cut its head off. Which, it's satisfying to see the ghost devil get literally decapitated. It does feel a little bit out of nowhere and retconny. That, I mean, granted, the no eyes has always been part of its design. But it feels a little weird that we're literally.
I thought it was badass. I thought it was like a fucking Aki just has no fear. This man knows that he's gonna die like the worst death possible, and he's like already lost his some of his closest friends. So he walks up the being that that sees via your fear and is able to decapitate it no problem because he has no fear. He's already seen like the scariest things in life. He's lost his family, he's lost his friends. He knows he's got 2 years left to live and he's gonna die the worst way possible. What's he has to be afraid of?
See, that aspect is the part that I absolutely love about it. I just wish they set up a little earlier that it senses through fear instead of literally as soon as he starts just owning it, because it does feel, granted this is me being a little nitpicky, but it feels a little out of nowhere and a little just dumped on you so that it makes enough sense for you to buy into it. But the real star of the show is Denji versus Katana Man, where they go ham.
Yeah, this is definitely the best fight scene in the show. This is a certified map of fight scene.
I love how the fight starts out where, or rather the lead into the fight where they're having that extremely tense conversation and Katana Man is asking Denji to, apologize. He literally says, "I'm willing to turn myself in if you go about this the right way." And Denji just says everything that he hates to hear.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, no, fuck you. I felt no remorse. You fuck your granddad. He was a dick.
Very based Denji. And they eventually
then they have the big fight.
Literally jump out a window and start duking it out. They at one point they get on top of a moving I think train, and they're fighting on top of the train. Then they crash into the train and everyone just starts fleeing the scene as an announcement goes on the intercom like, "Broskies, we are stopping the train. Get out as soon as you can, as soon as the emergency brakes work." Denji, he gets like thrown into another cargo of the train, and there's this woman there, and he's like, "Oh, come on," not wanting her to get hurt. Meanwhile,
he's like, "Yo, bro, time."
He literally gets his arm cut off right in front of her, and she's just horrified.
And he's like, "Bro, that's you're that's fucking hacks. That move's too OP. It's we gotta ban it."
That line is so funny.
He uses the Steve Smash Ultimate of moves.
Yeah, he literally asks. He literally says like, "Yo, that move. Can we put a pause on that for a little moment?
Can you not, dude?" Thanks.
He gets both his arms cut off, and then the Katana Man, he's like, "All right, you think you can kill me with just your chainsaw? Well, I got news for you. I will become the chainsaw." And so he rushes to Chainsaw Man and snaps his chainsaw in two.
He's just like, "Stand back, I'm about to chain." And
would have made the show a 10 out of 10. But
I guess he didn't saw that one coming.
My
I
lord.
guess he never saw that one coming.
So,
that I would have slapped it with a 10 right there if you said that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So he breaks Denji's chainsaw in two, and he's all confident, like, "Yo, you just got chainsawed." And then he splits in half, and he's like, "Uh-oh, I just got chainsawed."
You didn't know that I could turn my legs into chainsaws?
Oh, that would have been badass.
I mean, that is what he did.
Did I somehow miss that?
Did you miss that? Did you miss him growing a chainsaw out of his leg?
Did I
That's how he beat
watch
him.
that scene blind? I thought what had happened
he was like,
that he went for the...
Yeah, he went for the head and he snapped the blade of the chainsaw on his head, and then Denji's like, "Thanks for thanks for looking at my head, dumbass." And then we see like the bloody,
last episode you were having the dementia moment. Now I feel like I am.
Yeah, no, he very much explicitly has a chainsaw on his leg.
Did I legitimately watch this episode while brain dead? All right, here I'm looking at the scene.
Yeah, and you like after he gets cut in half, you have to be blind to miss. Yeah, you gotta have glaucoma to miss this shit. Yeah, are you seeing?
Okay, I see it now. I'm just wondering how I missed it the first time. It's focusing right there.
Yeah, it's like pretty dead center of the frame.
It's literally right there. I'm scared for my sensory capabilities.
my
This is
media
frightening,
literacy
Neon.
and my object pertinence.
Yeah, I'm not scared for my media literacy. I'm scared for my object permanence. Like, that feels like the more pressing issue here.
Oh, if it's this bad at this age, imagine how it's gonna be when you're in your 70s.
I'm gonna have dementia by the time I'm 40.
Um, and then it all wraps up with a nice little bonding sesh between our two broskies, Denji and Aki, bonding over kicking Katana Man in the nuts over and over just to see who could get him to scream the loudest.
Yeah, I love how this is the based Aki moment I was talking about before, where Aki is like, Himeno wouldn't want this for us to just torture this man, but then he, looks at the cigarette and he looks back at the
But
dude.
Himeno's not here.
And he's like, you know what? I want revenge on all these people. So I'm gonna go kick him in the nuts with Denji.
We've come full circle, boys.
Very based, very based. And the episode ends
you know
with,
what was missing? All that was missing was just one moment of Denji and Aki both saying in unison nuts or nothing while like in sync kicking him in the dick.
that would have been Kino. That would have been peak fiction.
Yeah.
That would have been all the Twitter buzzwords.
Goat, fire, Kino, bass.
Heat. And so after this, we get the stuff we were talking about earlier of Makima being like, yo, we've got enough parts of the Gun Devil that it starts pointing to it and starts magnetizing. We get Aki sitting on the porch doing a smoke. And at the very end, we get Denji having that dream that he always forgets. And then the brief tease of a new character who we will presumably see in season 2.
Yeah, the future of Chainsaw Man's looking real bright right now. People are going ham over the part 2 of the manga that's going on still at the time of this recording. There's absolutely no way this doesn't get a second season. I mean, like, come on, dude. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
What I'm curious about is that my friends tell me that this is that we're not even at the quote unquote good part of the story.
Are they owl housing you right now?
Yeah. It is basically what you were saying for Owl House, where I was like, but it's already so good. How can it get better?
I've also heard similar things from Chainsaw Man fans. It's like, bro, the shit hasn't even gotten real yet.
Well, when does it get real? It already feels
like
pretty real to me.
dying and like the entire paradigm of Special Division 4 like being merged into like one super task force isn't getting real.
These are way better deaths than the ones in Attack on Titan season 1. That was so random. Why did I say that?
I was gonna say that that was kind of a non sequitur, but you're probably right. But like, did you just want to get? Did you have like a vendetta against Attack on Titan? You just want to get like one?
Yeah, kinda.
One nut shot out there before we bow out.
One nut shot. I guess it's time to bow out then. I've gotten my final nut poke in.
Yeah, you've heard it here first. Chainsaw Man is better than Attack on Titan.
Unironically. So, out of 10, I feel like I know what number you're gonna throw out, but what would you give this show?
It was knocking on the door of 10. I feel like it needed to have like
10. Okay, never mind.
You thought I was gonna give it a 10?
No, I thought I thought you were gonna. Well, here, say your number first.
9.
I thought you were gonna give it an 8, and personally, I'm giving it like a super strong 8.
If I thought about it, like if I rewatched it and maybe looked at it with a harsher eye, maybe I would find more stuff to hate about it. I will say, Well, I appreciate the effectiveness of like killing off Himino so soon. I wish that they got me just a touch more attached to her cuz like yeah, her death is sad, but she was also only around for like what 4 or 5 episodes before she died.
That is a fair criticism, and I was thinking similar things. But admittedly, this wasn't a bad time to kill her off.
Yeah, cuz like I feel like her death is less of an individual moment and more like a sign of things to come perhaps of like what made it fascinating about me was like how you said it, the way Denji reacted to it and got his noggin jogging on how he would feel if his other friends died. And I feel like they're going to play into that idea and maybe he didn't care too much for Himeno because they'd only just become friends, but he's already got this friendship blooming between himself, Power and Aki, so if something would happen to them, or something would happen to anyone else he would befriend and become close with, if he and then they were to meet a terrible fate, you know, how would he react then? Would he be as cold and nonchalant as he is about it now, or would he get a little more involved, a little more passionate about it?
It all depends on the future of the series and how much Denji grows as a character in that time. And I have a feeling that his arc is going to be very splendiferous. And he is already a really great protagonist, and I want to see more of him. Like it
Yeah,
has been a while since I've seen a show with this immediately
strong a
charismatic.
protagonist.
Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, the cast is great, the direction is great, the animation's great. The only time it wasn't great was the first episode, and then since then it's kind of been pretty much batting homers the entire time, batting pretty much 100. Uh my only complaints are like the very it doesn't leave the strongest first impression animation wise, which is kind of damning when the rest of it's so good. You look back at that first episode and you're like, man, what the fuck was the budget on that one? And then I feel like they were just missing like one more like big this is what they meant by shit getting real moment. But maybe they're just saving that for what would be season 2 and it's just a pacing thing. So from what we have so far, season 1 of Chainsaw Man is a 9 out of 10. I think it's great. I can't wait to see more.
The I wouldn't even say there's necessarily any big flaws holding it back. The only thing holding it back from like a 9 or a 10 out of 10 for me is that it's just not like I love the characters. I think the plot is getting pretty interested, but it's not reached that sheer crunchy coded level that I see out of a or that I would desire rather out of a personal favorite. Whereas with other shows, it can be like, I love every
It
single thing about this, and this is like my type of show. Chainsaw
yeah,
Man is not necessarily my type of show. It just is really good in spite of that.
yeah, I feel like now that because we've been doing all of these like kind of side quests on our path to the Gun Devil to like be able to track him down. Now that we've according to Makima, now that we are able to start tracking him down, I feel like that is the plot line we're going to be following the hardest now without hopefully without any like big distractions like the Eternity Devil stuff. If that's the case, I'm looking forward to more Chainsaw Kino.
It is very Kino indeed. And if you think our podcast is Kino, why don't you give a like, a sub, comment, share, share it with all your friends, share it with your mom, your grandma, every single person you know. Be that annoying.
And then get Crunchy to 1,000 subs. So
Yeah,
can,
please do. I want to make money. I want to feed my non-existent children. Sub so I can feed my pet rock.
You said April of 2023 was your goal for 1,000, but if your growth does not slow down at this rate, you're probably gonna hit it by February. Let's hit it by January, motherfuckers. Let's go fucking sub to Crunchy, and also sub here.
Hell
sub to both. Because
Sub to
I've got
all
some
of us.
big plans for 2023 for both the podcast and the channel as a whole. So
You're
get excited about
starting
that.
an OnlyFans.
Yes, and it's all gonna be Makima cosplay.
I'm very excited to see the new work out of the new era of Neon Manta.
the new yeah, no, I'm not just that's not funny at all. No, that's it. Before I say anything, I'm gonna regret years down the line. This has been Castaway Anime. I'm Neon Manta.
I forgot to get out. Hold on. No. I can't stop it now.
Crunchy, come on, we've got seconds left. We're already over the 2-hour mark. Just fucking say
And
your
I'm
name.
Crumbly Croissant.
And you'll see us next time.